Michael Slevins is here, CEO of Tax Recourse. He is also a licensed real estate appraiser. It's true, property values are still falling.
They are. They are.
So why aren't my property taxes?
Well, your rates are going up, and the property tax rates are being driven by other factors other than the market. So therefore, if your values are either staying level or dropping slightly, and they're not keeping up with the increase in the rates, your taxes ultimately are going to go up.
My taxes are going up because my town is broke, basically.
Pretty much.
Right? So, we've already dropped down to one garbage pickup a week. We've already done all that we could do. They have no choice, basically, but to raise taxes.
To raise the taxes to be able to cover the expenses that they absolutely have to do.
So it almost has nothing to do with the value of my property, does it?
It does, in the sense that if you don't aggressively pursue an appeal or argue the value of your property, in essence, your taxes will go up instead of either staying the same or going down.
Is it worth it to appeal?
It absolutely is. It's certainly worth it to at least challenge the district to make sure that you're paying your fair share.
How do you do it? I mean, do I need an attorney to do that?
You don't. Actually, you can do it yourself, and this applies to both residential and commercial. You can file a protest with your jurisdiction. In many cases, you can go down and negotiate informally with them. If they just don't believe the position that you're taking, you, of course, can go to the next level, which would be a formal argument.
So I can go down and just say, look, this is wrong. The value of my home has fallen. You're jacking up my tax rates. Just have like a face-to-face conversation with these people.
Absolutely.
That's the first place to start, is what you're saying.
You certainly want to go in there with some evidence. You want to go in there with some sort of documentation which shows that you firmly should have a reduced value on your property.
Okay, so, I mean, what's going to happen then in 2011? Are we going to continue to see houses fall, property taxes continue to go up? I mean, our municipalities, our cities, our states, they're not going to find money anytime soon.
I believe we do. I practice on the commercial side more than I do on the residential, but I still firmly believe that the residential market's going to decline further, and the commercial market, of course, with the obvious news of today, it will still continue to fall.
So what happens in the commercial market? Because, we hear that places like Manhattan are actually coming back.
Well, some places are seeing some leveling out, I believe. We have different sectors of the market which are impacted differently. For example, the hospitality industry, hotels and restaurants are still suffering substantially, and their revenue in some cases has been cut almost in half since for the last 2 years. And they certainly haven't seen their values of their properties cut in half. Both of those industries are stuck with fixed costs with regards to food service, with restaurant food and employee costs. Those don't change. So property tax may be the only place they do have any relief.
But one of the things you suggest to reduce your taxes is something called deferred maintenance.
Yes, deferred maintenance is probably the best way to put enough evidence together to go in and make an argument that your property is not worth what the jurisdiction is saying so. The jurisdiction has the very big job of going out and looking at every property every year and determining what it's worth. They don't necessarily go into the property and see everything that's wrong with the property.
So you're saying deferred maintenance basically means the place needs maintenance?
It needs maintenance. And a lot of cases your property may need a roof, and they're comparing you to other properties that don't need roofs. So therefore your value should be less than that, but they don't know that. And until someone points that out to them and documents it, I tell all my clients that they should certainly go out and take pictures and get estimates to do the repair work and use that information to justify a reduced value.
Well, why wouldn't they just then come back to you and say, well, fix it?
Well, they really can't control what you do to your property.
I guess.
What their job is to do is figure out what it's actually worth and what someone's willing to pay. So if you were to go and buy a piece of property and the very first thing you do is walk through the property and say, well, it needs a roof and it needs this, you're going to start negotiating the value down.
So, and that's worked?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's what most jurisdictions encourage you to do.
Prove to us that it should not be valued at what it's at.
Prove to us that your market value is too high.
So, okay, so let's talk big picture commercial real estate market. Are you seeing a pickup at all?
I am a little bit in certain jurisdictions in certain areas, but again, for the most part, jurisdictions are leaving things flat. Their job is to try and maintain their tax base, and they're going to do whatever they can to do so. And their job is going to either be leave it alone, lower it a little bit. I've seen some decreases on some properties that are in the 3 to 5% range, but they should be in the 15 to 20% range. And normally, what's going to happen is they're going to use data from 2 years back, 18 to 24 months back, to justify the value of today. And this, in fact, we're going to 2011, which is going to be the first year that their data that they're using to justify their value, it doesn't support their numbers. Last year in 2010, they were still using data from 2008 and 2009, which sort of had some credibility in it in early 2008. So because of that, this year coming up is going to be the perfect year to go in there with the evidence, with all the foreclosures and all the properties that just aren't selling because there's no one out there to buy them.
So bottom line here is, commercial or residential, if you believe you're paying too much in property taxes, do something about it.
Absolutely. Be proactive and go out and get the documentation together to be able to go and make a good argument.
I love that. I didn't realize it was that easy. Michael Slevin, CEO of Tax Recourse. Thanks for being with us, and thanks for hopefully empowering some people to go out and do it.
Great.
Have a good holiday.
You too.